All right, on this episode of the LPDS, we get into some VA updates, Yankees updates, a shout out to a new member of the Brotherhood of the LPDS Universe, and I share a very welcomed surprise that I got a couple weeks ago. Share that in the Junction. All that plus a nice little Cage fact coming at you right now. All right, Jabronis, we're back. Welcome back to the Libretti Podcast Diary Show. I'm your host, Libretti, a show that talks about nothing but tries to find the lessons in everything, and we have a good time doing it. Hope everybody had a good week. Mine was better. Productive, better. Get into the good stuff in the Junction. But I'm not going to get into too many details. But I just want to say very quickly, the VA continues to stink. Absolutely continues to stink. I told you guys last episode I was supposed to have an appointment to discuss war pain stuff, and I wasn't looking forward to it. Well, as I'm driving over there, there's an accident on the highway, and it stopped. I got a detour. I got to get stuck in it. Long story short, I get to my appointment for the VA 3 minutes outside their approved window before they make you reschedule. Now, mind you, I left an hour before my appointment. It was a 35-minute drive. I left an hour before so I can get there early. Then I called when I was stuck in the accident traffic. I called the headquarters of the VA department that was overseeing this, and then I called the office directly as well to let them know. There's an accident. I am on the way. I am not no-showing. I am not sleeping in. I am actively on the way. They said, okay, no problem. And I get there, and I'm 3 minutes outside the window for what was supposed to be a 120-minute allotted time appointment. Okay? So now the 3 minute window is really, it's 15 minutes. If you're going to be more than 15 minutes late, they want you to reschedule. Now, I feel I should caveat that because I know there's going to be people out there that are like, well, 18 minutes late is too late. You missed it. Well, not when I call an hour ahead to let them know I might be a few minutes late. And not when they said, okay, thanks for letting us know, no problem, and said that 15-minute rule is for people who no-show, don't call, don't do anything, just show up whenever they show up. Now, if I showed up 3 minutes earlier, we would have started the discussion, the appointment 15 minutes late, which would have had little to no effect on the appointment. But because it was 3 minutes past that, the doctor refused to see me. And wouldn't even come out to tell me in person, had their lackey at the front desk come out and say, I'm sorry, they won't see you. They have a full schedule they got to get to. I said, well, we have two hours. What are they going to do now? Now their schedule is open for 2 hours. 1 hour and 47 minutes, 43 minutes, whatever it was. So why can't we do it now still? After I called you guys ahead. I had the headquarters also call you after I called the headquarters. You were tracking everything. You said it was fine, and now it's not fine. And the secretary was like, sorry, she won't see you. The doctor won't see you. I was like, well, can I talk to the doctor? Can she come out and explain why this is such a dire black and white policy after I called ahead? I was like, how many people call ahead? She's like, nobody. It's like, I was like, so you can't give the benefit of the doubt at all? I said, do you know what this appointment's for? I said, this is not to take blood work. I said, this is to talk about war and combat shit. Stuff I need help with, I want help with. And they're refusing to see me because of a policy that you made internally. It's not a law. It's not a federal regulation that I broke. I'm not a felon. It's a policy you made to prevent no-shows and disrespectful people, both of which I am not. And you have stated as such right here in this conversation. So can I at least speak to the doctor to find out why she still refuses to bend on this policy when we still have 140 plus minutes to have a conversation, or an hour 40 minutes to have a conversation? She's like, no, the doctor is very busy. They can't see you. How are they busy? We were supposed to be together meeting. They are no longer busy. They could not have rescheduled a new appointment in that time. That's not how the VA works. So tell me now, what are they busy doing? Too busy to go see a human being, have a conversation with a human being to explain why they're so strict on this policy that they can't have a war pain appointment discussion, professional discussion to help somebody out. That took over a month to schedule to begin with. Couldn't be bothered. They could not be bothered. And when I tell you I was about, I don't know, I was about one additional rude encounter away from going absolutely postal on those people. Like I had the vision in my head. Like, what would it look like if I just nuked this place? I was livid, especially since I drove over an hour with the traffic just to drive an hour back now because I had to get the traffic on the back end because the accident was still going on and I had to find detours and take the long back roads way, which obviously takes longer. So that was my day, Tuesday morning or whatever it was. The whole day. I drove up an hour and a half, I'm back an hour. I stopped at a gas station to cool off and cheese up. But man, was I livid. I was one of those things. If anyone has ever seen me as angry as I can be, I don't know how many people have seen that. Maybe a select few. I can't even remember off the top of my head. That when I'm the angriest I can possibly be, I completely shut down. I don't blink. I don't look at anybody. I don't say a damn word. You can barely hear me breathing. I am just so locked in on exacting my revenge. There's no emotions. I'm a robot. I'm a robot. And if you ever saw me like that, I'm sure the people who have seen me were probably like, something not great is going on right now. Like I don't know what's going to happen next because I'm never like that. And I also don't like it doing that either because I don't necessarily always know what's going to happen next. It takes a lot for me to get to that point, and because of that, I have little energy left to usually cool myself off and come out of it. It usually follows just unimaginable vengeance. Um, when I've gotten like that in the past, like people get cut off for good. And hand up, in my younger, dumber, less mature days, I have gotten like that and cut people off that absolutely did not deserve that level of reaction. But back then, the things that got me that mad at the time were the worst things that I, can comprehend by somebody doing to me or something happening, so that I reacted in that such a way. I don't my comfort zone of bad things to happen has expanded. So looking back, some of those people, and I've reconciled with some of those people. I had conversations, not reconciled to the point where we're all best friends again, but like taking accountability and let them know. But yeah, 100%. Like, you're dead to me. You're dead to me. And that's how I felt. I was so livid. Thankfully, I had to get in my car and drive. So I threw a cheeser in and I was able to do my breath work and my mindset stuff and get out of it pretty quickly. And then realize, like, dude, this is what the VA does. You have to expect this and not let it get to you this much. But I was so livid. I couldn't have been angrier that day. And thankfully, I got my appointment rescheduled for this coming week. So expect an unhinged episode next week, possibly, if I don't get any hotline calls. But it's to a different facility. It's to a different doctor. Thankfully, because I was going to call them and tell them I absolutely refuse to have a conversation with that human being over something this important. I don't want them having any sort of responsibility into my VA disability outcome and my treatment for any reason whatsoever. I don't want that person even looking at my records anymore. So thankfully, it's at a different facility, different doctor, because I don't know what I would have done. I would have probably just sat there and said a couple of sarcastic remarks and said, like, no, just mark me as fine, and I'll appeal your decision and get another evaluation from a different doctor in a few months from now on the appeal, because I'm not opening up one fucking ounce for you. Just a completely unempathetic human being. 3 minutes past their window. Whatever. Anyway, I said I wasn't going to rant about it, and then I ranted about it. Moving on very quickly. Epstein's still a thing. Nothing's happening with that. Weekly reminder. That's all I got to say about that. Let's talk Yankees real quick. They stink. Their pitching has been tremendous as of late, and their offense has been an absolute dumpster fire. Absolute dumpster fire, with the occasional, like, decent inning thrown in here and there. Heliot Ramos is 0 for 23 since being on the Yankees. Doesn't hustle out ground balls. Luis Garcia, or whatever his name is, okay at best right now. Not hustling out ground balls. Jazz Chisholm stinks, continues to stink. Just bonehead play after bonehead play after bonehead play. Everybody's, for some reason, all the fans are like, oh, it's an end of an era if the Yankees don't re-sign him. First of all, it's been 1.5 seasons. There'll be 2 seasons on the team. What era are we talking about? End of an era for the guy to hit 230 at his best? What the hell are we talking about? End of an era. He shouldn't be in pinstripes. The Yankees should have higher standards than that. George Lombard at least is doing fine. Thank goodness. He's doing well. Still no sign of Judge or Stan, although we have seen them moving around in public in uniform lately, which is a good sign. Austin Wells is still batting 178, and they're talking about him like, oh, he's all the way back now, folks. He lifted his batting average 12 points. He's still not batting his weight or my weight. And he's bigger than me. So they're a dumpster fire. Anybody who ever thought that they were a a serious organization this year, a serious contender. We tried to tell you. I hate being right here, but we tried to tell you that you were fools to believe that. You were absolute fools to believe that. Thank God I was actually busy and had things to do last Wednesday and I couldn't stream. Because it would have been a nightmare. Plus, it was on ESPN, which was giving me trouble to watch anyway. So I had to watch it on a delayed feed. Some people I know had to watch it on ESPN Deportes in Spanish. So it would have been a nightmare of a situation. Thank God I wasn't able to do it. And I'm kind of hoping I'm too busy or they don't have a game this coming Wednesday because I'm really getting. It's not fun. The only thing that's fun is if I know people are going to be on the chat so we can shoot the shit together and do some trivia and have a good time through the chat. But they are just embarrassing to watch. They ought to be ashamed of themselves. Anyway, that's all I got to say about that. On a lighter note, on a more positive note, I want to give a huge shout out and congratulations to the Bone Crusher and Mrs. Bone Crusher as they welcomed in their first child a few days ago. I don't know exactly what date, maybe the 12th, 13th of August, something like that. A little girl. I'm not going to reveal the name or anything. That's their business if they want to reveal their information on their child. But mother and daughter are doing well. Bone Crusher's doing well. She annihilated the labor like the champ she was. Just tremendous. Very, very happy that the LPDS Universe has welcomed its first kid. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited to get them on the show one day soon. So congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. Bone Crusher. And that's all I got to say about that. Now, let's get into the good stuff. Let's step into the cage.
Okay, let's run.
All right, today's Into the Cage segment is proudly sponsored by Bacon Fingers. I love bacon. I also love chicken fingers. Well, guess what Tony Rigatoni did? He put them together to make the all-new bacon fingers. Thick strips of bacon, coated and fried in Tony's secret breading recipe. So delicious, you'll forget that we likely already had this sponsor months ago. So to get your bacon fingers today, head on over to the back office of Satriali's Meat Shop, and if you use the promo code You're Baking Me Crazy, you'll get 29% off. We are losing our minds here, folks. Anyway, the Cage Fact. I was reading an interview that he did in Variety magazine recently, and they were talking about movies and TV, a whole bunch of other stuff that might have some other Cage Facts in there. I'm going to dig through it later on, but one thing he said was that he initially didn't have any sort of desire back in the day to do TV shows. Episodic TV, episodic film, if you will. TV. He calls it episodic film or something like that. But he didn't have any desire because the vast majority of popular TV shows back in the day were sort of copy-paste. He called them homogenized. Like, it's the same crap over and over again. Episodic shows being like the sitcoms, Law and Order type, those, the detective shows where they're not all connected telling a story throughout the season per se. Most shows weren't like that. Most shows were each episode was its own entity. And every once in a while they would come back, they would do a callback. This video pisses me off so much, guys, because I can't figure out a goddamn solution. Anyway, we froze on YouTube again, so sorry. They might do a callback to like a bad guy or a storyline from an episode seasons ago, and be like, oh, the killer is back or whatever. And And I actually that's the one of those are the episodes I enjoyed the most of some of those detective shows, cop shows, things like that that I like to watch, like NCIS New Orleans and stuff like that, is when they connect something to from back in the previous seasons. Most shows throughout time, sitcoms and all that, don't do that stuff. It's episodic. Each episode, each week is a new thing, standalone, yada yada yada. That's it. So he had no interest in doing that because he felt it was monotonous and it wasn't telling really a story. It was a short. It was actually even worse than the movies because you really only had 30 minutes to an hour, 40 minutes maybe, to tell a whole story and a character, build a character arc and this and that. So he was off it. But then during COVID, he said his son showed him Breaking Bad. He wanted to watch Breaking Bad together, and Breaking Bad and some of these other shows that came out. Sopranos, of course, is one of them, where you have an entire season building a story, building character arcs. You go to multiple seasons. Now you're building this same character, following a same storyline and advancing the plot and the character arc. You can really build something like that. And he saw that. He said he saw Bryan Cranston in one of the scenes of one of the episodes. He was staring at like a briefcase or something for like 20, 30 seconds in silence, but just him emoting and in the scene, in the context of the scene and what it was building to, when later on in the season it kind of connects the dots a little bit more. He saw, oh wow, this style of television, you can do so much more building an entire character. You have so much more time. You can slow build it, sneak little hints in each episode, and by the end of the season, you've built this incredibly complex, interesting character. And if you do it well enough and the story's good enough, it's written well enough, you're going to get another season of that, and you can build from there, like Breaking Bad did, Sopranos, what have you. And that's what got him back on the train of television, because he said it multiple times. He's kind of done everything he's wanted to do in film, and he was considering retirement until he got offered this role in Spider Noir, in a TV role that actually wasn't boring episodic drivel. He actually had the creative freedom to go build this character, and it was a huge hit, obviously. And I expect there to be another season, and I think he does too, and I think he's looking for that. And he also has been in discussions for another season of True Detective, which would be another incredible venue to see Nic Cage build a character in that setting, detective setting. I always had this idea of writing a movie about Nic Cage as a detective. There's a twist. I'm not going to obviously reveal the twist, but he would be the main character in the movie, because I like to see him in that more serious role. Not so much Bad Lieutenant, which was an amazing movie, but a wild character that he played, where he was a menace to society, but like a serious whodunit. We got a bad killer on our hands, or whatever it may be, and he has his whole character and this and that. So I like to see him in that. And True Detective is actually a show, so you can build a character longer and more complex and entertaining that way. So I hope he does True Detective as well. And I hope that they announce that they'll have a season 2 of Spider Noir very soon, because I want to see that happen. But Breaking Bad is essentially the reason. Bryan Cranston is the motivator for Nic Cage to actually grace us with his television presence. So there you go. That's the Cage fact. Moving on over to the Junction, we'll spin the logo up. This will probably be short because the trip was short. But as we all know, I've been really grinding lately, dealing with some issues at work, slowdowns with the business, obviously the VA stuff, some emotional, personal stuff. which I think was also not helped. It was, I think the VA stuff sort of opened the vault a little bit, if you will. Of that is the Libretti emotional vault, and then from there, then I got some personal stuff uh, that leaked in, and how do I explain this? Once the vault is open, and if you dig deep inside, there's a vault, and then there's the safety deposit box in there. And once the safety deposit box is open, everybody knows. I think I've talked about this even maybe last week. I feel like I've just discussed this, but anybody in my circle, if you're in the brotherhood, if you're in the circle, um, you are in the you've access to safety deposit box. You have the key to that. You're all the way in. There's nothing I don't share with the brothers. Like our lives are connected. There's no secrets. There's no really nothing. It's if I have a problem, if I'm in a state of weakness or sadness or anything, we're talking about it. They're there to support all the time, and I hope vice versa. I hope they feel the same way about me. I believe they do. But one of the things about that, and this is something again I've talked about. And I know the brothers probably get annoyed about this sometimes because I get annoyed about it myself, but once you're in, like you get 100% Libretti. And that's a lot. That's a lot. I joke about being an acquired taste when it comes to dating and women and all that stuff. And it's fun to joke about and be lighthearted about, but in all seriousness, if I'm selective not because I think like I'm better than every woman out there. That's crazy. I'm selective because once you're in, I'm that's it. Like you're getting 100% Libretti. It's gonna be the rest of your life full of Libretti. The effort, the whatever you want to call it. I don't know. Love bombing, being obsessed with like you get everything. You have a problem, I'm there to help with a solution. Like it's a lot. I can't really describe it without, I don't want to don't need to go into too much detail. But you can ask my friends. They probably, like I said, I'm sure sometimes it's annoying because if they have a question or a favor, I'm like, I'm 1,000% in on helping. Like, oh, you need to move this table? Okay, I'll come and I'll pick it up right now and I'll bring it over here for you. You don't have to lift the finger, this and that. And they're just like, hold on, dude, I'm not even home. Just like it's not a priority. Whenever I need it moved, if you're available, that'd be great. And in my head, I'm like, I'm available now. Like I'm moving this, I'm putting this on my back now for you. And it's a pro and a con. I'm not stroking myself off here saying like nobody's better than me at being a friend no, it's a gift and a curse. There's probably a lot of reasons behind it that I don't need to get into now because I don't want to put anybody on blast. That's for I'll go do that with a therapist or something. But I'm an over giver in that like once you get through the little M&M coating shell that I had that I pretend is so tough and rugged and rigid and whatever, that's it. I'm pouring everything into you. Unfortunately, once it's open, it's really tough to close out and get that out, get somebody out of there. So I've been dealing with that. The VA stuff that I started, opened the box. Somebody snuck in there. And I'm not saying I'm closed off to this. I'm not saying, hey, I'm not trying to open up to anybody ever again. I'm going to be a closed off animal. No. I want to be able to open up and give myself like 100% of myself to those people. I want more people in the brotherhood, if you will, whether it's the friendship side or the relationship side. I want more people in there, but it takes a lot to get in there because it requires all of me. Like I am all in on that. So I'm selective in that regard. And you really have to be, a ride or die, like I want to be to them. Um, so I understand that that's going to come with a lot of pain because I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to pick the wrong people to bring in. I've done it in the past. I've done it recently. I'm going to do it again. But I'm not certainly not closing myself off to that. I understand what it takes to actually be in strong relationships like that. It takes risk like that, and it's going to take heartache and pain and all that bullshit. So I'm okay with that. It's tough in the moment. It sucks in the moment. I'm not okay in the moment, but in reality, I know I'm going to get through it. Long story longer, I somebody snuck in there when the vault when the safety deposit box was a little cracked open, and I didn't get a chance to close it in time. Somebody snuck in there. Wasn't I don't think they're supposed to be in there. I kind of want them to be in there, but I don't think they're supposed to be in there. I think this is supposed to be a lesson situation. And it is become a real problem emotionally on top of the financial stuff and the VA stuff and the war paint stuff and all the other shit going on. Again, long story, even longer. I've been in a bad sort of roller coaster way, just trying to power through this time. I'm not, I'm not hurting myself. Nothing like that. But it's like we all have ebbs and flows in life. I talked about how the creature reached out and sacrificed his sleep schedule to sticks with me because just to be there for me. Well, the creature and Wet Cat stepped up even more this past weekend. I guess it'll be 2 weeks ago now by the time you're hearing this. Um, Mrs. Wet Cat and friends got tickets to go see Hillary Duff concert in Philly. This was months in advance. And the original plan was Creature and I go to Philly. The gals all go to the concert. Uh, and the fellas hang out and have a good time. Well, I had to back out because I don't have the funds for that right now. And I had to make a decision. I can either do the Philly weekend or I can do the December Embry Riddle baseball golf alumni event that Wet Cat puts on in Daytona every other year, which is a tremendous event. And there's more people and it's a little longer. It's more time with the gang. So I said, hey, I can't make it. And obviously that certainly didn't help given the timeline of what's been going on in my life. Otherwise, it was like, oh, now I can't even go hang out with my friends. So I got to sit here another weekend in the trenches. Well, the Wet Cat and Creature texted me like a week prior and said, listen, asshole, we got your flight to Philly. It's a quick trip. It's only, getting in Saturday evening, leaving Monday morning, but you're coming. We're not doing this without you. And I push back. I push back because don't want to be a charity case and a burden. Um, at least I always felt that way. It's a stupid way to feel, but I always feel that way. Like you all have your own issues going on, and I can't pay you back right now. I can't return any favors right now. So I feel like a charity case that you shouldn't have to burden yourselves with. So obviously I pushed back and relented, and eventually we came to an agreement, if you will, and they got me the ticket. Um, really, really a much needed trip. It was very short. We got there later at night, right as Wet Cat was getting off his shift at work. So he picked us up from the airport. We got some snackies at Wawa on the way home. We had some snackies, a quick cheeser, a little late night cheeser, and then the next morning we went out. Well, Yeah, we hung out all together. I'm trying to remember the course of the events. It was a very quick trip, well, not a lot of sleep. Um, I'll tell you something about Saturday night in a second, but we'll go through the timeline here quick. Um, we get breakfast. Wet Cat and Mrs. Wet Cat are making breakfast. They're slinging eggs. They got Cinnabons, croissants, bacon. It was awesome. And everybody who knows me knows that I'm a breakfast food guy. That's my shtick. That's my thing. I loved it. It was right up my alley. So we crushed breakfast. We went into town for a little bit. We had a nice like little sort of cocktail day. Some margaritas, some chips. Um, in town at this nice place. Nice. I had a nice little like creature, and I had this. I thought it was very refreshing. And I don't care who makes fun of me for it, but we had this like it was almost like a pina colada margarita. They didn't have pina coladas at this place. It was a Mexican joint, Tex-Mex joint, so they were known for their marg daddies, which I love, but I also like a good pina colada, and I'm not ashamed to admit that they're refreshing. I'm not like the Bone Crusher's dad who likes them but doesn't want to admit that he likes those drinks. So they had this margarita that had like coconut flakes on the rim as opposed to salt. And then they had some sort of like, I don't know what kind of serum inside the marg that made it taste like a literally a pina colada margarita. It was all in one, and it was very refreshing and very good, and really hit the spot for me. It really did. Um, and then we stopped off at this place, a little hole in the wall joint on the corner of the street. Got ourselves a mean cheesesteak. My only regret was that I didn't get two cheesesteaks to have one for later in the evening because I wanted more. But we crushed a cheesesteak, dropped the concert goers off at the concert. We went back to the Wet Cats, had some snacks, smoked a nice cigar. Um, the Grease man. I don't know if anyone knows the Greasy Wet Cat's brother-in-law. We hit sticks together. If you remember years ago, I was in, I believe it was, damn, I don't know if it was Vegas or Tampa. I got to go back and look at the video. When Bone Crusher and I were hitting the circuit, one year we went to like three pay-per-view events in a single year. Um, so I don't remember if it was the Vegas venue or Tampa, but I was cutting promos for people. I told everyone, hey, if you want a wrestling promo, send me the info and I'll cut a funny promo for them. And Wet Cat requested I cut a promo for his brother-in-law who just got like a promotion in his job, and he was not going to be able to hit sticks as often as he would like anymore because he's going to be working different hours and all this other stuff. Um, and he wanted me to cut a promo to give him crap for not being able to hit sticks with the fellas as much. And I never met Greasy at this point. I don't believe. I think it might have been even before Wet Cat's wedding when I didn't meet him yet, and I wasn't playing online with him at the time with Greasy, but cut this video for him, and then maybe a year later we actually met in person, and then we started hitting sticks and yada yada yada. He lives down the street from Wet Cat, and he came over and shared a cigar with us as well. And it was just nice to get, 36 hours, however many hours it was, just to shut my brain off of all the chaos going on in the trenches that I left here in Texas, and doing that. And then literally we picked up the concert goers, came back. I had another cheese and a snack, and we had to be up at like 4:30 in the morning to get to the airport for a 6 o'clock flight. Well, luckily, Wet Cat was working the same time, and he was able to drop us off on the way to work. So that was nice of him too. Um, but man, when I tell you, even though we didn't talk about any of the issues uh, going on, which is fine. I don't want to talk about that shit because, again, when I talk about that stuff, it keeps my brain honed in on the problems itself and not focused in on a solution and working forward. So when I get in these modes, when problems arise, what I try to do is I clearly acknowledge what the problem is. Okay, this is the problem here. I am, this is X, Y, and Z is happening or not happening. Okay, I need X, Y, and Z to happen. So I'm clear on the problem. Got it. Now my brain has to step to solution mode because if I dwell on problems too much, I get I get in a bad way emotionally. I just become a nobody. I can't. I'm useless, and I sit there and I sulk like a baby back bitch, beta bitch boy, if you will. And I can't. It's not productive. I can't get better that way. I don't get better that way. So I just step to, okay, what's one thing I can do right now to make the situation better? And then my brain is now immediately focused on solutions. What is one thing I can do? I can do A. I can take a deep breath. I can read a book. I can do, even if it's a small step, my brain is already off the problem and on a solution. The solution might be step A, step one of 50 or one of 100, but my brain is still on a solution focus and it's not dwelling on the problem. So talking about it with the fellas would not have been too beneficial, and I appreciate them not even bringing it up. I think they just know, like, that doesn't solve our problems, so we're just going to get our brains off of it and be regular. Um, and it couldn't have been a better situation for me. Um, I I said this before and I'll say it again. I don't know if I can repay ever what they did for me and what they continue to do for me. I always will feel like uh I in their debt, if you will. And I know that's stupid because then they don't expect any sort of transactional friendship. But it's always the immediate feeling. I know they've felt that way in the past, so they kind of understand, but they also know like this is stupid. Just like feeling like you're a burden to your friends is, uh, it happens. It's a real feeling, but it's a stupid feeling, especially the brothers, because if you're in the brotherhood, you know it already. Like you're never a burden. You're never going to be a burden. Um, but man, did I need that. The one time window where I was alone in my thoughts was a Saturday night. We got in and we were going to bed, and I'm sitting in there, uh, and everyone else is asleep. I went to bed a little earlier than I normally do because everyone else was asleep too, and we were trying to get up a little early to go enjoy the day, make the most of our time together. And I couldn't get out of my thoughts. I couldn't get out of my own head. Um, and it was not good. Almost went outside. I almost just got up and just went for a walk in the middle of the night. In fact, I heard somebody I don't know if it was Catwoman or Wet Cat took the dog out, and I was still awake at that point, and I heard them walking out to take the dog, and I was like, oh man, if it's like 7:30 in the morning, I'm just gonna, even if it's like 6 in the morning, I'll just get up and go out there, and then maybe I'll go for a walk because I'm already up. I looked, it was like 4:30 in the morning, 5 in the morning. And I was like, God, I couldn't sleep. And I'm laying there. I'm whispering out loud because the walls are thin. So I didn't want to wake anybody up and scare anybody, but I'm sitting there literally begging God, begging the big man upstairs. I'm like, please, for the love of God, please help me go to sleep. Please help me go to sleep so I don't have to be here in my brain right now. Please, I will do, I said, I will do anything. I will do anything right now if you can get me to go to sleep. I'm dying here. I just need to go to sleep. I was a mess. I almost wish they had like cameras in there I don't know why. I don't know why. But I'll tell you this. If I was home all weekend by myself instead of with those guys, I can't, who knows what I would have done with myself. I probably would have went on like a 40-mile hike just to clear my brain like a psychopath, leaving Randy by himself waiting, wondering why I haven't been back for 12 hours because I'm just walking in the heat trying to clear my brain. I was a mess, and they mended me like you couldn't believe. So, a couple of lessons here for the you fine folks out there. It's okay to have tough times. Social media does a really good job of making it seem like nobody has tough times. And even the people who sort of talk about it, it's very rare that they're actually talking about it in a way that you feel like, oh yes, they actually I believe that they're going through it, they have gone through it. Theo Vaughn's really good at it about opening up, and you can connect with him and understand like this guy is actually being open and honest and genuine here, and I can relate, and it makes me feel better that I can resonate with this, and I'm not alone in this, in reality of the world. Most other people don't really do it that well. They'll say something like, "Yeah, I've gone through tough times too. So what? We got to power through, right?" And it's like, well, A, you didn't even talk about the tough times you went through. You didn't talk about exactly what went on and how you quote unquote powered through it, how long it lasted, what you were feeling like. So nobody can relate to you. So it falls on deaf ears. And then the rest of the content you see when you go on the internet is only the good stuff. Only family photos, positive photos of a relationship. I can't tell you how many times I've seen people post like a photo with their boyfriend or girlfriend, and like literally the next day I'm hearing them talking about like, oh, it's over. They're cheating on, like they've been cheating on me, and I'm about to break up with them, or this or that, or they just announce, like they just tell, oh, I broke up with them. I was like, you literally just posted this bullshit post with this caption like, I'm with my mans, or like the love of my life, with, no, I don't want to do what anybody else, honey, and then it's like, I'm single. Like, it's all fraudulent and fake. The problem is our brains see that, and all they see is like everybody out there is doing so well, doing so good. Like, why aren't I? Why aren't I this happy or fulfilled, or always, or I actually have issues to deal with, and nobody else seems to have issues to deal with? We got it. We all have issues to deal with. I promise you. That's why I do what I can. I know sometimes this shit sounds like sad and lame and lonely and Eeyore like when I talk about this shit, but it's not because I'm looking for sympathy or a cry for help or anything. It's just to let everybody know that, like, yeah, my life is good. If in the big picture, I love my life. I am very content and fulfilled. I have a purpose I'm driving towards. I have the best friends and family anybody can ever ask for. And I'm grateful for that every second of the day. And I love my life. It's great. But it doesn't mean that shit doesn't happen. It doesn't mean that you're not going through the trenches sometimes and you're dealing with shit that just pops up out of nowhere sometimes. And sometimes 4 or 5 things, the perfect storm dumps on you at the same time. So I share my shit with you, not again for sympathy and, oh, well, I'm a victim, woe is me, nothing ever happens that's good to me, blah blah blah. It's almost like we're in this together kind of thing. Like, I know you're all going through shit too, because I'm going through shit. And I'm going to share it so that if you ever have any doubts that you're alone in this, you're not alone. If you're listening to the LPDS, you are never alone. We're in this together. We all have shit we got to go through. We all have problems we got to deal with. And we're here to share those together. Because when we get to the highs, the highest of highs of success and happiness and accomplishing goals and our purpose, we're all going to be there together too. And it's going to be that much better to experience with each other because we were in the trenches together first. That's lesson number one. Don't feel like you're a problem. Don't feel like something's wrong with you because you're going through tough times. That's the most normal thing in humankind, in human history, is that there are good times and there are bad times. And don't listen to the fucking internet and people that just post the good times and talk about the good times and make you sound like, oh, yeah, I did this at XYZ and now my life is always the best all the time, never any bad times ever. No, that's not true. So don't ever feel like there's something wrong with you for that. The second lesson here is um, as easy as it is to feel like you're a burden on your friends, I think a big reason why that is because we've had quote unquote friends or even some family members in the past that we've opened up to, we've asked for help from, and they weren't there for you. Or they even said like all you do is come to me with your, you're always talking about your problems and you're becoming a burden. Um, I think if you go back to my life, and I'm sure a bunch of yours as well, you feel like a burden because somebody along the way in your life made you feel like a burden. And at the time, it could have been a friend or a family member or whatever. But in reality, that's not a real friend. If they made you feel like a burden for opening up to them and asking for help, and asking for help is not always, hey, I need help. Asking for help is sometimes just being in the trenches, and reaching out and saying, hey, do you want to hang out? I've been trapped in the house all day. I can go for a burger or whatever. If you're one of the brothers, if you're in the brotherhood, if you're part of that world with me and you're getting 100% of me, I'm not leaving breadcrumbs. I'm letting you know like, hey, I'm not feeling great right now. Do you want to go do something? Um, I don't like to leave little bullshit breadcrumbs and hope they get it. If they don't get it, they're not my true friend. That's bullshit. Um, but a true friend, a true brother never feels like you're a burden. Because they let you in their vault, so you know that you're getting 100% of them, and that's what friendship is. That's what life is. It's highs and lows. It's goods and bads. So that's what relationships are. There's going to be goods and bads and highs and lows. So yeah, if we're brothers, if we're friends, you're not a burden. You're just existing. You're just having a regular life and you're in a low part of that life. And this is, I'm here to pick up some slack and help you out. It's like it's whatever it takes to maintain 100% friendship. Sometimes I'm going to be down at 50% and they got to go 150. And sometimes they're going to be down at 50% and I'm going to go 150 and vice versa, but we're going to maintain 100%, 200% total. 100 on my end, 100 on their end. And sometimes if I'm not firing at 100%, they're picking up that extra slack, that extra booster to get me back up so that we're even again. Like, that's how it is. And what's crazy that I to me that I've done that I do that I have to fight is that I still the initial feeling is I don't want to be a burden to them. And it's for those reasons in the past. Somebody made me feel like I was a burden to them. They weren't a true friend, but I still associate it with like if I open up to somebody, if I'm vulnerable to somebody, they're going to think I'm a burden, they're going to leave. So I don't want to do that. But if you even think that, if you're even worried that that person's going to leave or be annoyed by you, then they're probably not worth opening your vault for and being a brother anyway. So luckily, I don't have to worry about that. But even though I still feel like that, on the flip side, if one of my friends ever came to me and said, "Hey, I need some help" or whatever, it's an honor for me to be there for them in any way I can. Oh, you need $5 for 1 gallon of gas, whatever. Like, oh, you need a phone charge, like whatever it is, the smallest thing to the biggest thing. It's a fucking honor that they value me so much that they came to me. They entrusted in me, to help them, to be there, to let them be open and vulnerable. To me, that's a sacred thing. If somebody is willing and trust me enough that they value me enough that they're going to be open and vulnerable and ask for help in any way, shape, or form, I will never abuse that. I will never let them down. And it's like I said, it's an honor, and it's almost an insult if they don't want to come to me. And that's the crazy dichotomy of this all. Is that on one hand, when I'm in a bad way, my first instinct is don't bother my friends with this. They got enough on their plate. I don't want to be a burden or a bother. But on the other hand, it's like if they even felt the same way when they're going through it, I want to slap them upside the head and be like, "Hey, don't be stupid. It's an honor for me to help you and be there for you in any way I can." And I know that's what the brothers felt, with me and still feel. So that's the second lesson is remember that if you have a true friend, if you bring someone into your world as a true friend or family member or whatever, a significant other, and you and they do the same to you, it's an honor for them to be there for you when you need it. We're not burdening them, just like they're not burdening us. If somebody feels burdened and annoyed, they're not for you. That's not the friend you're looking for. But it's an honor to help your true friends and family out like that. And like I said, I have the best in the world. They flew me out there. It was such a financially stupid thing because the flights are more expensive. It was for like literally a day trip. It didn't make financial logistical sense whatsoever. But it didn't like they didn't give a shit. They're like, I don't give a shit. It's not a that's nothing. They said we need you here. I still don't know why. My insecurities still don't, question like why. You would have had a good time without me. But it wasn't about that. So um, remember those lessons, please. I couldn't have had a better weekend. We did nothing. We did nothing that we wouldn't have done on a regular day anyway. We got food. We watched baseball. But it was as needed as could be. The connection, being together, just I didn't. There was no better remedy for what I've been dealing with lately. Just the brothers coming together and being there for each other. Simple as that. And that's all I got to say about that. Before we go, very quickly, the big three, the three pillars to staying strong and being a better, happier, kinder, healthier, less stressed, more genuine human being, be able to spread that positivity and goodness to all those around you and throughout the land. Number one, exercise every day. Do something each and every day to improve your health and fitness physically, mentally, or emotionally. Number two, the hardest one to do, don't be a negative, shitty person. Be a kind person. When the opportunity arises to be negative or shitty or sit in the negativity, take a deep breath, take the LPDS step back, and just remove yourself from the situation. Put your phone down, close your laptop, go for a walk, go exercise, go do something to get yourself out of that negative situation. Number three, the most important one, be genuinely thankful and grateful for all the good you have in your lives. I do this in multiple ways, but you can do this a little bit each and every day by just taking time, couple seconds a day to think about just one good thing in your life. You can write it down, you can say it out loud, whatever it is, and then think about what your life would be like without that thing. And that'll immediately put you in a state of gratitude. You'll feel it. You'll feel like, oh shit, what if I didn't have running water? You start to think about like, how would I wash? How would I shower? How would I get anything? How would I flush a toilet? You're like, damn, that sounds miserable. And that right there, that feeling right there puts you in a state of gratitude. And the more you're in a state of gratitude, the easier it is for you to remove yourself from the negative, shitty situations and allow you more capacity to go focus on more positive, productive things with your lives, like exercising. So if you do these three things each and every day, a little bit more, and a little bit more, a little bit more, I promise you, you'll be a better, happier, better, happier, kinder, healthier, more genuine, less stressed human being. I'm losing it today, folks. Be able to spread that positivity and goodness to all those around you throughout the land. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe and tell your friends and enemies. Put your notifications on. Hit the hotline, 202-670-1114. It was real fun listening to the hotline calls the past few weeks. I enjoyed those thoroughly, so thank you to those who called. But feel free to call in again with any other questions, comments, advice, trivia, prank calls, whatever you want. 202-670-1114. Thank you guys again. I love you all. Stay strong.